One of the great things about being older is that you've learned some things, and something I would tell myself, my younger self, today is to be more deliberate. And what I mean by that is that not being fast is sometimes a good thing. When you take your time to do stuff, you can be much more intentional and focused on what you're doing. Number one, it's really great to stay mindful in the moment, because when you're younger, it's like you're speeding through things so you can get to the next thing, which means you're never really living because you're not even present in the moment. So number one, you are trying to get through something so that you can get to something you perceive as better. And number two, you don't give full attention to what you're actually doing. So you don't give it its full presence, and you don't give it all the attention that it really does deserve. Because especially when we're younger, and perhaps even now as we're older, we tend to think that certain things are better than other things. We rate them like this experience is better than that experience. Well, all experiences are living. And when you can live deliberately and live intentionally, you can understand that every moment has its importance. Every moment has something to give us. Every moment has something to teach us. And if you can live like that, it's almost as though you live infinitely. Because as you experience each moment fully, it makes life, number one, so much richer, and it makes your experience so much fuller, and it seems to make time sometimes sort of stand still. And that can be a cool thing, especially as one gets older and you start thinking, oh, the clock is winding down, getting closer and closer to that eventual end, whatever that might be. And so living more deliberately, living more intentionally can be a great way to actually extend life and perhaps even experience infinite life and limitless life. It also can take away the idea that something should be different, that you should be different, that life should be different, that you're missing out on something. And you don't know what that someone else that you think of as living the perfect life is actually experiencing. There's somebody out there that actually thinks that your life and the way that you're living would be a great thing to have. And if you don't fully appreciate it, then it's almost like it's wasted. It's a wasted life. It's a wasted time. So if I were to tell myself something, my younger self, today, I would say be much more deliberate, because I rushed through many things. And I also a lot of times when you're staying in that very rushed frame of mind, you make decisions from a different part of your brain than you do when you make decisions from your deliberate brain. Your deliberate brain takes its time. It really checks in both with your body, your mind, and your spirit to see if your decisions are in line with what you're looking for. Because a lot of times when you make those fast decisions, you're making them very much from perhaps even a fear or haste or a sense of lack. Whereas if you take deliberate, you understand that time is something that's precious and that you can really relish in. And as you realize that you have all of that, you realize how abundant you are, and that can get you to really living from a more abundant space in your mind, and you can make more abundant decisions. There's so many decisions I made when I was young that came from fear and came from lack, and those are things I'm turning around right now. Really turning around my finances, turning around the way I see myself, turning around the way I see my life. I have a great life, and I think all of us can see that we have a great life. Sometimes it's ugly in its beautifulness or beautiful in its ugliness. So not everything is quote unquote perfect, but it's beautiful in its own right. And it is life, and it is what we're living, and it's what we have now, which is the only time we're alive. So if you take anything from this, think about how you can live more deliberately today. Perhaps take your time, go a little slower, realize you don't have to be in such a rush, and let life take its own pace to where it needs to go, and realize that every moment is extremely precious. And as I would ask my little brother, is everything going to be okay? And as he would say, it always is.